Disney is a company that needs little to no introduction, with their over a century legacy spanning across all forms of media. Having been on TV since 1950, in 1983 Disney decided to launch their own television network with the Disney Channel. Over the years, the channel would go through many changes and feature different blocks like the Disney Afternoon and Zoog Disney, with this being the unofficial start to me taking on the big three, the complete history of the Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, and Cartoon Network, which I will be releasing by era, so this video will eventually fit right in the middle. So make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. But today, we're going to be talking about one of Disney's kids blocks that would feature on a different channel, ABC. So join me as we take a trip through the timeline of Disney's One Saturday Morning and ABC Kids.
Sunday morning, wake up time, gets to work and stand in line. What would make her feel real fine? One Saturday morning. Coming up next is Tuesday's grind. The week is young, but I'm out of my mind. What would make her feel real fine? One Saturday morning. Wednesday, Thursday, jammed in the middle. Once again, makes pose a riddle. What strung me loose, but plays like a fiddle? One Saturday morning. Friday has an exit sign, but gets to the end still takes some time. What would make her feel real fine? One Saturday morning.
Illuminating television.
5 hours of summer, once a week. One Saturday morning. Yeah. 5 hours of summer is what we need. One Saturday morning. 5 hours of summer, once a week. Whoa. 5 hours of summer. One Saturday morning.
Taking us back a little before the launch of the new block in 1997, Disney would acquire ABC in 1995, introducing their shows in the fall of 1996 to ABC's Saturday morning lineup, with a premiere party event called the Saturday Morning Preview Party. The event was hosted by Melissa Joan Hart, who was promoting her new series Sabrina the Teenage Witch. The preview showed clips from the new Disney shows being added, like Doug, focusing on the titular character Doug Funny, through his life in high school with his friend Skeeter, his dog Porkchop, and always trying to impress his biggest crush, Patty Mayonnaise, which was now in its 5th season, with it coming from Nickelodeon and this being the first season produced under Disney. Gargoyles, with the 3rd season going under the subtitle The Goliath Chronicles, which is about Goliath and his clan of gargoyles who were cursed in the year 994 to be in an unbreakable rest until the castle rose above the clouds, with the antagonist of the series, David Xanatos, placing the old castle on top of his New York City skyscraper and breaking the curse, reawakening the gargoyles in the modern day. Mighty Ducks the series, being loosely based on the live-action films, this series follows a new group of alien hockey-playing humanoid ducks, who were transported to Earth after fighting a war on their home planet of Puckworld against the Saurians led by Lord Dragonus, who also gets sent to Earth through the wormhole. The team land in Anaheim, California, where they're picked up by a human manager, and made into a professional NHL team while still battling against Dragonus. Flash forward, which focuses on two best friends, Tucker and Rebecca, as they've been best friends and neighbors since birth, but are now going through new challenges growing up and entering the 8th grade. And Jungle Cubs, which was a prequel series to the Jungle Book movie, following the animal characters in their youth. These would air alongside existing shows on the ABC Saturday block like Schoolhouse Rock, The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and The Bugs Bunny and Tweety Show. And finally, revealing the new bumpers for the block featuring characters from Toy Story, with shows like Nightmare Ned, a show about Ned, an 8-year-old boy who deals with his problems through dark and quirky nightmares, and DuckTales, coming early next year in the spring of 1997, with the show following Huey, Dewey, and Louie with their grand uncle Scrooge McDuck as they go on various adventures seeking treasure.
illuminating television.
The block of Disney's One Saturday Morning was officially launched on September 13, 1997. Originally scheduled to be on the 6th, but pushed back due to coverage of the funeral for Princess Diana. There was a large factory, which was One Saturday Morning, where Saturday mornings are made and where the block was held, with the first block being hosted by Charlie, Phil, and Uncanny Manny, being the one who would put on the shows using a machine that would pump out some toast. The whole Saturday Morning Kids block would be scheduled at 5 hours and go on to feature many shows, with the premiere having new additions, such as 101 Dalmatians, the series, a show based on the movie, and following 3 of the puppies, Lucky, Rolly, and Cadpig, as well as their chicken friend Spot. And Science Court, renamed Squigglevision in 1998, that presented scientific problems or theories as court cases, using humor and education to solve their experiments. But the main 3 flagship shows of the block would be Doug, Recess, and Pepper Ann. Recess followed 6 4th graders, TJ, Vince, Ashley, Mikey, Gretchen, and Gus, as they try to navigate the politics of the school ground at 3rd Street Elementary and avoid the strict governing of Miss Finster. And finally, Pepper Ann focused on the titular character as she goes through the trials of life being a 12-year-old girl in middle school with her friends Nikki and Milo, and her often getting lost in her fantasy daydream as her warrior alter ego. Not only would the new shows be in addition to the new block, but it would also feature brand new interstitials, or the little segments during commercial breaks of the shows, such as the segment hosted by Manny the Uncanny, where he would go out on the streets and check out different places and jobs. There would also be Monkey Boys, with sort of a Three Stooges type slapstick skit, What's Up With That, which asks different questions to the audience that always ends with What's Up With That? Nutcases, which was a short-lived segment with very early motion capture technology. And finally, the 2 segments that would last longest on the block, Mrs. Munger's Class, which had a yearbook photo of the class making the photos talk, with many running gags and even going on a field trip to the zoo. And finally, Great Minds Think for Themselves, which was an educational segment that was hosted by Robin Williams as Jeannie, and discussed important historical figures and how they changed things during their time by not thinking like everyone else, but by thinking for themselves.
Here we go. 5 hours of sunshine, what's so quick? Saturday morning. It's all goodness. 5 hours of sunshine, one
It's the one reason Saturday's the best. With Disney, Doug, Pepper, and Recess. Disney's One Saturday Morning, ABC this fall.
You only get one Saturday morning.
Jumping to the next year, only one show would come to the block in 1998, with Hercules, the animated series, premiering on September 12th. This was a mid-cool series, taking place during Herc's training with Phil, but focusing on him going through high school, meeting new friends like Icarus and Cassandra, and facing many different monsters and myths. If you're a fan of the original Hercules movie like I am, I highly recommend the series, as many of the original voice casts reprise their roles, and it does well to live up to the original, even though it does make a few plot holes here and there. Although, the new season of the block would see some changes. They had another preview show event with new interstitials and the introduction of new hosts, Mimi and Jelly Roll, on ABC's TGIF on Friday, September 11th. Jelly Roll the Elephant would not only co-host, he would star in his own new segment, How Much Stuff Could an Elephant Crush?, which also featured his little mouse sidekick, Derby, along with operating the Televator, where he would put on the next show, taking over the role from Uncanny Manny. There would be many other new interstitials that were introduced this season, with Boss of the World, where kids would write in and illustrate about what they would do if they were the boss of the world, You Rock, which would have the block edit together a music video for fans that had submitted their own videos, How Things Work, a comedic comic panel that would explain how things work, Flindiggery-Doo,
I'm Vanessa.
Yes, you are.
which would be a parody of the crocodile hunter who could never actually find the animal he's talking about. No Mercials, which were commercials that would not have any real purpose, just being about one certain thing. Flip Book, which was just a typical flip book. Toon Twisters, which was a segment that had a market tie-in, where you would get a Toon Twister tube with a mirror device that would help you untwist the image during the segment on TV. And finally, the longest running interstitial from this season would be Tube Dwellers, which was about two tiny workers named Bob and Bob, who would operate the TV set from inside the TV. This being my personal favorite from the season. Do you have a favorite interstitial that you remember watching on the channel?
Hey, this is what you want.
Saturday!
We know where to get it.
Disney's One Saturday Morning! This is what you want. Friends large and small. This is what you get.
You can get it all. Take a ride with Doug.
They rule the school.
She's too hip for 12. Our Saturdays are cool.
This is what you want. We want Saturdays. This is where you get it. So set your alarm. Disney's One Saturday Morning. ABC Saturday.
The new hosts and interstitials would carry over for a few years, with not much change in 1999. The first show to be added came on May 1st with Mickey Mouse Works, which was a show made up of Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Goofy shorts and skits to emulate the golden age of Disney shorts. Then, bringing us to September 11th, the block would premiere Sabrina the Animated Series, which is a prequel to Sabrina the Teenage Witch, with her learning about magic and life through middle school. With the new season of the channel, they also introduced a few new interstitials, with Find Out Why, which had Timon and Pumbaa explaining how things worked, What's the Diff, which displayed two images to spot the differences between them, What's My Name, which talked about a historical figure eventually revealing them, and finally, Centerville, which had a similar vibe to Mrs. Munger's class, but it wasn't a yearbook photo, and what the kids and adults said was often synced up to a drum beat.
Okay, all right already.
Top.
I don't make this food for your benefit. Move it along.
Lots of things about Saturday, wish I had the other days. Think I may have found a way one.
As well as more.
Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday. Wednesday, Thursday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday.
More.
Traveled around till I found one clear to me that it was fun. Then I thought if I had more, I could bring it to your door. I've got one for you to get, good friend, tell me. So now let me hear you say.
Flipping channels for a second, one Saturday morning would have a spin-off block shown on UPN under the name Disney's 1-2, launching on September 6th, 1999, and airing as a 2-hour weekday block as well as on Sundays. Disney 1-2 wouldn't air the host segments or interstitials from the original block, but they would air shows featured like Doug, Recess, Pepper Ann, and Hercules, also receiving future editions that would come to the main block, but featuring on their own block, The Legend of Tarzan, which premiered on September 3rd, 2001, and Digimon, being added in September of 2002. The block of 1-2 would officially be discontinued on August 31st, 2003, due to the rebranding of the main channel to ABC Kids.
We'll be right back to Disney's One Saturday Morning. Welcome back to Disney's One Saturday Morning.
Back to one Saturday morning, starting on February 26th, the block added The Weekenders, following the weekend adventures of four 12-year-old 7th graders, Tino, Lore, Carver, and Tish. The new season of the block on September 9th would add new bumpers with a sports theme, with kids doing different activities with the one from the logo, as well as animated We'll Be Right Back bumpers also with the one. With this also came the premiere of the show Teacher's Pet, which is about Leonard, whose mother is also his teacher, so he gets made fun of by the other kids, being called a teacher's pet. But his talking dog Spot decides to start school dressing up as Scott, and quickly becoming the most popular kid in school. With the last addition to the block being Buzz Lightyear of Star Command on October 14th, being about Buzz Lightyear and his team of Space Rangers, Mira, Booster, and XR, as they fight against Zurg and defend the Galactic Alliance under Star Command. In December of 2000, they got rid of the two hosts, Mimi and Jelly Roll, along with most of the interstitials, with only the Tube Dwellers seeming to stick around in small segments until 2002.
We'll be right back to Disney's One Saturday Morning. Now back to more of Disney's One Saturday Morning.
A few more premieres would come to the block in 2001, with The House of Mouse making its debut on January 13th. A series made up of shorts and featuring Disney characters interacting with each other in the House of Mouse between segments. Followed up by Lloyd in Space on February 3rd, focusing on Lloyd and his family as he lives in the Intrepidville space station in the far future after the end of World War IX. The sports theme of the bumpers would carry over from the last year, being the style until the end of the block in the fall of 2002. The new season in 2001 would have an addition to the One Saturday Morning name, with the new shows being added going under the subtitle Powered by Zoog. On September 15th, the block added Lizzie McGuire and Even Stevens in a Zoog hour in the block itself. Lizzie McGuire follows Lizzie as she figures out life and social issues in school and home life, with her inner dialogue represented as an animated version of herself. And Even Stevens, mainly following the Stevens family, with Ren and Lewis having a major sibling rivalry due to being so different. Then, on October 20th, the last premiere was Mary-Kate and Ashley in Action, which had the two child stars get their own animated show where they're secret spies, foiling the different plots of masterminds from big businesses to in their own school.
Friday has an exit sign, but getting there still takes some time. What would make me feel real fun? One Saturday morning. 5 hours of summer, once a week. One Saturday morning. Yeah, 5 hours of summer, what we need. One Saturday morning. 5 hours of summer, one Saturday morning.
The very last addition to the One Saturday Morning block would come early in the year on January 19th, where they added Teamo Supremo, a super team of kids made up of Captain Crandall, Skate Lad, and Rope Girl as they take on the supervillains in their area whenever they're called by Governor Kevin. In July of 2001, Disney would acquire Fox Family Worldwide, which would also include the Fox Family Channel, which became ABC Family, and getting a share of the IP of Saban Entertainment. So the block would officially change its name to ABC Kids in the fall of 2002.
This fall, Saturdays get even better. Introducing ABC Kids. Get on the team. ABC Kids, starting Saturday, September 14th on ABC.
On September 14th, 2002, the ABC Kids block would make its debut. With this change, of course, came a whole new style, new bumpers, as well as a few new shows, with Recess, Teamo Supremo, and Lizzie McGuire being the shows that were carried over from the previous block. With the premiere, they would add Kim Possible, which follows Kim and her best friend Ron Stoppable as she balances her life in high school and as a secret agent to stop the plans of Dr. Draken and his assistant Shigo, as well as many other supervillains. Next, the Proud Family, focusing on Penny Proud as she deals with her family, school, and friends, often dealing with the lessons of discrimination, culture, and the day-to-day life of Black families. Fillmore, an homage to older police dramas, the show follows Fillmore, a reformed juvenile delinquent after he was caught stealing chalk, and his best friend / partner Ingrid, as they head the safety patrol at X Middle School solving crimes. NBA Inside Stuff, which would feature behind the scenes with NBA players with segments focusing on exercise and the fundamentals of basketball. And last to premiere was Power Rangers Wild Force, the 10th season in the Power Rangers series, following Cole, Taylor, Max, Alyssa, and Danny as they become the new Rangers and join forces with the Wild Zords to battle against the race of monsters called the Orgs. The new style of the channel would continue with the sports theme and create a brand new stadium with a crowd full of kids, featuring characters from the block shows on the field and the ABC Kids logo often acting as the ball in whatever game they're playing. These bumpers would remain as the style for the block until the fall of 2006.
Can we get the ball going again?
Did you have a vision?
Yeah, and I think the ball has indigestion.
Stand back!
Run, run!
ABC Kids, new season, new rules. Premiering September 20th on ABC.
On February 15th, Power Rangers Ninja Storm premiered, the 11th season of the show, now following Shane, Tori, and Dustin as they're the last remaining members of the Wind Ninja Academy after it was attacked by Lothor, turning their sensei into a guinea pig. The guinea sensei gives the remaining members access to the Wind Morphers, which gives them the powers of the Ninja Storm Rangers as they defend the city of Blue Bay Harbor from Lothor and his forces. On September 20th, the block would have two premieres, starting with the series debut of Lilo and Stitch the series, which followed Lilo, Stitch, Pleakley, and Jumba as they track down the other 625 experiments and find a unique place for each of them to use their talents. And also, That's So Raven, which was about Raven Baxter and her friends Chelsea and Eddie as she deals with school and her family, but with the added bonus of having psychic visions always messing up her expectations.
Every Saturday morning, these Disney stars take the field. To some, they are heroes. To others, a friendly face. Friendship is their bond. Teamwork, their strength. They meet Saturdays to form a team that can only be seen one day, one place. Catch all your favorite Disney stars Saturdays on ABC Kids.
What's wrong? I can only move in slow motion for so long.
Only two premieres would come to the block in 2004, with Power Rangers Dino Thunder being added on February 14th, the 12th season of the Power Rangers, following Randall, Connor, and Ethan as they discover 3 Dino Gems, giving them the Dino Thunder power to fight against Mesogog, who wants to plunge the world back into the time of the dinosaurs. Being guided by Tommy, or Dr. O, who returns from the previous seasons to take up the mantle of the Black Dino Ranger, and joined by newcomer Trent, getting the Dino Gem for the White Dino Ranger. During the summer, the channel started a few new sporting events, like the Skyac 500, the JetX Kids Club Soccer Tournament, and the PGA 4 Kids, the last 2 of which would go on to be an annual event until 2006. The last premiere would come on September 25th, with Phil of the Future, focusing on Phil Diffie and his family from the year 2121, as they get trapped in the modern day of 2004, with Phil and his sister Pim having to enroll in school due to the amount of time it will take to get the time machine fixed. Phil ends up meeting Keely, who becomes his best friend as the show follows their relationship as it grows before he has to return home.
I hope we're not too late.
Watch out!
Hold it right there!
Oops. Check this out.
Starting off early in the year on January 15th, the block would add Witch to the lineup, a show about Will, Irma, Tyranny, Cornelia, and Haylin, who all have magical abilities over specific elements, as they work to protect their city of Heatherfield on the planet of Meriden, as guardians of the Veil from the evil Prince Phobos and Lord Cedric. The next season of Power Rangers would air on February 26th, Power Rangers SPD, or Space Patrol Delta. Taking place in a world where humans and aliens coexist, the Rangers act as the police force and fight against the invasions of the Trubians. The new season for 2005 would come with 2 premieres on September 17th. The Buzz on Maggie, a show about Maggie Pesky as she lives in this world of anthropomorphic insects in the city of Sticky Feet. She attends junior high with her best friend Raina as she tries to work towards her dreams of becoming the biggest rock star. And The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, following the antics of Zack and Cody as they live in the Tipton Hotel with their mom Carrie, messing with Mr. Mosby, and hanging out with Maddie and London Tipton, the spoiled rich daughter of the owner of the hotel.
New school right now on ABC Kids.
Starting early on January 27th, the first premiere would be The Emperor's New School, a sequel series that follows Kuzco through high school having to get his degree to officially get his throne, while he learns about being a better leader and trying to avoid the plots of Yzma. With Power Rangers Mystic Force premiering on the block on March 11th. After an earthquake freeze in Ancient Evil, the sorceress Udana gathers Nick, Chip, Xander, Madison, and Vita to become the new Rangers and fight against the underworld using the power of the Mystic Force. Then, with the new season on September 9th, the block would see some changes to the overall style. Now going with a music stadium theme, replacing the sports theme, and having their characters performing on the stage for their bumpers. This would be the style of the block until the end in 2011. Also, on September 9th, they added The Replacements and Hannah Montana. The Replacements being about Todd and Riley, orphans that find an ad for a cell phone that allows them to replace anyone they want, getting adopted by a daredevil dad and a super spy mom in the process, and learning lessons after their replacements typically backfire. And finally, Hannah Montana, following Miley Stewart balancing her family life with her songwriting dad and immature brother Jackson, school with her best friends Lily and Oliver, and of course being the huge pop star Hannah Montana, keeping her split identity a secret from the public to lead a normal kid's life.
Alright, thanks for hanging out with us today.
Good night, everybody!
You guys totally rock!
You got that right.
Be sure to check us out again next week.
Bye-bye.
Because there'll be more rockin' good times.
See you guys later.
Right here on ABC Kids.
The ABC Kids block would go on to air the same shows on a repeat schedule for the remainder of the years on air from 2007 to 2011, with only new seasons of the Power Rangers being changed, with Operation Overdrive premiering in 2007, Jungle Fury in 2008, and Power Rangers RPM in 2009, with this being the last new season to air on the block. And finally, in 2010, the channel would add an updated rebroadcasting of the original season, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. In 2010, Disney had decided to hand off their airtime with ABC, eventually finding a deal with Litton Entertainment, where the block would become Litton's Weekend Adventure on September 3rd, with the last airing of ABC Kids on August 27, 2011. Already having Disney Channel, I think ABC Kids and Disney's One Saturday Morning was a welcome addition to the ABC channel. With a lot of effort put into these host segments, interstitials, the whole building of One Saturday Morning, and then even animating unique bumpers for the sports theme. What era of the channel do you remember watching? What interstitials or shows do you remember watching on the channel? Let me know in the comments below. And to elaborate a little more on what I'm going to do on my upcoming videos, there were so many blocks I wanted to cover, like Toonami, Playhouse Disney, and Nicktoons, so I'm going to be releasing each video by era so I can really break down the blocks that were incorporated in each one and not having to make a video that's 2 hours long. So make sure to stay tuned for all of those videos, as the first one will be Nickelodeon, the First Kids Network. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.